In this session, we will see how to set up the streaming replication in Postgre and then how to fail over from primary to the replica and vice versa. So let's launch two EC2 instances. We'll be using the RHEL. So this is RHEL 8. We have to spin two instances. So number of instances, it will be 2. And rest of the stuff will remain default one. I will create replication demo, and it is 28 December. This is the security group which we are going to create. And I will mention my IP. Through my IP, I wanted to access it, and I just launch it. It's going to take a couple of, I believe, less than 1 minute. Let's go to the EC2 instance. Okay, let it come up. So what we are going to do in this is we will note down the IP address once it is rebooted. So a few things we will do. We will set the host name of the primary as master, and we will create a replica or the slave, and we will name it as slave. On the master or the primary, we will install the Postgre 13 binary, and we will capture the IP address because that is going to be important because we will be using at multiple places. So let us see the status. Let us mark it as replication instance. I'll mention today's date, and let's mention it as master. The other one, which is going to be started up soon, we will say it as replica. Sometimes it takes a minute or so. Complete a demo, it's going to take approximately 45 minutes. So I'm just waiting for it to spin up completely. Okay, we can see one instance has came up, that is our replica, and the other one, it should be up any moment. Let's use the replica. Okay, let me use the replica for the time being. EC2-user, and let's see, it is still initializing. So we will go to the replica and we will see what step we have to do. We have to just install the binary only on the replica. Okay, the primary is also up, the master. So let's log into that. On the primary, we are just going to install the binaries as well as we are going to start the instance by after creating the database. Okay, we were supposed to set the host name as well. We will do immediately after this. The host name is required because we have to identify which server we are working as of now. This is our replica server. So let me give it a name. I have given it the name replica. The primary steps are still going on. For the replica, we will do some of the steps like we are going to disable the SE Linux on the replica. Instead of enforcing, we will say it is disabled. And we will enable this sudoers as well. The sudoers step is also added. That's the only thing which we can do on the slave or the replica. Let's go to the primary. On the primary part, let's set the name. We have set the name, and the next step which we have to do is let's disable the SE Linux, and after that we will reboot the system. This is disabled. Uh, let's enable the sudoers also. The sudoers is also added, and the let's restart the system because that's required. Once it comes back, we will ensure that uh, their security group should be configured properly so that they can talk to each other. It takes some time actually to come up. Okay, so let me see if it came up properly or not. EC2-user, excuse me. And just check out the details for the replica as well. EC2-user. Okay, you have the primary, which is named as master, and we have the replica, whose host name is replica. Now we will go over the step by step. The first thing which we wanted to do is uh, let's check out the private IP, and we will go to the security group of okay, and let's add the IP address over here so that they can talk over the okay. Let's save it. Again, go to here. Check the IP address, private IP. This is the private IP. Go to the master security group and add it over here. Okay, we have added. Now the master private IP is 124. Let's capture it somewhere. Okay. And replica private IP address is this one. So 124 master and 43 is slave. Let's log into the primary. This is our primary, and I'll say sudo su space minus postgre, and we are just going to execute PSQL on the primary, and we will change the listen address from localhost to uh, the IP address of the system. In our case, we'll make it a star. The another thing which we have to do is let's change the password of the uh, Postgre role as well. Everything we are doing in primary, there is no data directory existing on the replica part. Let's create a directory structure for primary where archive can be stored. Okay. And we are going to execute this on primary. Let's duplicate this tab. And we want it to see sudo su space minus tail minus 10f dollar pg data slash log. We wanted to see if there is any error in the log. Okay, the first step is setting the wall label to replica. This should be by default available on. This is available. And the second thing which we wanted to do is we wanted to set the archive mode to on. Let's set the archive mode to on. And also alter system set, and we wanted to give the archive command so that it can be archived from pgwall to a non-default location. Okay, there is no error, so everything is fine so far. Wall sender process, let's make it the default one, which is 10. Then you have wall keep size. Let's make it 500. Then We will be reversing the role as well. So let's make the hot standby on when it is applicable. And we have already changed the password of Postgre role. Now what we will do is we will create a replication user. Everything is being done on primary only. There is no uh, replica existing as of now. We have created the user. Now we will allow remote access in pg_hba.conf on primary host. So we need the IP address of the replica. So the IP address of the replica which we captured is here. So what we will do is on the primary, Shift G, and later on when the role reverses, we have to change this as well. We'll talk about that. Now let's restart the primary services. Just check the system is ready to accept the connection. Okay, everything is fine. Now we will try connecting using the IP address. These are the optional things just to check how is your setup being done, but we'll directly jump to the replica part. On the replica part, what we will do is we will try connecting using Postgre role. So for that, let's take up this one. There's just to test the connectivity. There's no other meaning. Replace the IP address over here. So there's PSQL-U -h. This is the, so we'll say, oops, this is gone. Okay. Let me log in again. EC2-user. Sudo su space minus Postgre. Let's duplicate this. Sudo su space minus Postgre. And over here, we will fire this command, which is testing the connectivity. From the replica, I'm trying to connect with the primary, with the IP address. So that means everything is fine. It has given the error because we haven't mentioned the details in hba.conf, but that's okay. So what we will do is we will take a backup of primary and we wanted to put it on the replica. For that, the data directory must be empty. So that's already empty. And what we are going to do is we are going to create what do you say, the location for the archives on the replica. So we created that location. The status will be in the disabled mode on the replica, and that it is. Okay, so this is the uh, entry which has been captured when a replica was trying to connect with the primary using the Postgre user. So this is fine. Now what we will do is these details cannot be made on the standby as of now because the database doesn't exist. So what we will do is we will first of all replicate the data. Okay, these are some of the optional steps for Postgre user in case you wanted to continue with that, but that's purely uh, optional. So what we will do is using this command, we will bring the data from the primary. So what I need is the private IP of my master node. So just copy it over here and we will replace it over here. Okay. We are in the data directory on the replica, and using the PG base backup, we are trying to replicate the data, ensuring that rep user details should be there in pg_hba.conf. And let's see tail -10f $pg data /log. We wanted to see if there is any error or something else. Okay. So you can see we have got the details. The data is replicated. The some of the important things which needs to be checked, that there is a standby.signal, which is there's nothing like recovery.conf, so it is a standby.signal. Standby.signal, it just makes sure that it is in a standby mode, and you will have some details related to the connection in PostgreSQL .auto.conf. So you can see the details over here. The data is already copied over here, and now what we will do is we will just verify that everything is fine or not. Okay, let's start the replica on the over here. So sudo systemctl start PostgreSQL -13. It is saying it started a wall streaming from primary at this, so everything is fine so far. On the master, you can fire this command just to see some more details. So let's go back to the master. We'll say PSQL. You can see these are the details that it is already streaming. And on the replica side, if you say PSQL, and if you just fire this, the receiver details, it will be able to show you what is the status as of now. So you can see that it is a streaming, and these are the details. Now the next thing which we wanted to do is, so this is the setup, like how to do uh, the how to set up the streaming replication. Next thing which we wanted to do is we wanted to promote primary to the replica. So what we will do is we are going to stop the primary. So we will say, let's stop the primary. We are going to promote the replica to the primary. On the primary, I'm just going to stop the cluster. Okay. So this was master. Let me duplicate. So I'll say sudo and I'll say tail -10f $pg data /log. It is stopped. Now what we will do is, now we will promote the current replica to the master. So we can check what is the current status of the replica. This is our replica. So select start from pg underscore stat underscore wall underscore receiver. We have shut down the primary, so this is the status. So the next thing which we are going to do is we are going to promote the replica. So it is going to be the primary. So we are saying pgctl promote -d and the directory location we are giving. Now what this will do is this will promote your replica. So this is the error which we are getting on the replica because it is not able to connect to the primary. And waiting for the server to promote, done, server promoted. Now you will be able to see that uh, it is. So database system is ready to accept connection, archive, recovery completed, received promote request. So promote request is received. And now what you will do is we have checked the log file. Now we wanted to make our original primary as the replica without backup and restore. So just to make that, what we have to do is, as of now, it is in the stopped status. If you start it, uh, it will become an independent cluster. But we wanted to make sure that uh, it comes back as the replica. So what we will do is we will go to the data directory, cd $pg underscore data. And we have to inform this cluster that now you are going to become a replica. So if you once you start it in the standby mode. So we are saying touch standby.signal. So once it starts, if it finds this file, it will be started in a standby mode. And we have to configure the PostgreSQL.conf file so that it can bring the wall files from the primary. So restore command, it is going to pick the file from the primary from your now primary. So the current primary is the replica. So let's pick up its IP address and we will put it over here. This is the new primary, and now open the PostgreSQL.conf file and just go to restore underscore command. Under the restore underscore command, we will mention this. So it just bring the value from the archive location. All right. So the another one is recovery target timeline. So we wanted to recover it to the latest timeline. So by default, this will be latest only. This is latest only. So this is the second change which we have to do. The third change, this is very, very important, and this will be primary connect underscore info. If this is set properly, this is going to talk to the new primary, which is just promoted, and it will connect and bring the data from there. So it is wrap user. So before it connects over there, you have to make sure that the entry is there in hba.conf file. Otherwise, it is going to show you some messages in your uh, log file. Okay, and archive cleanup command we can give, but this is we'll keep it optional. And now just check the pg_hba.conf file for the wrap user. The similar you have to mention over there. This is the most important part. Otherwise, you will be seeing a lot of issues over here. And the replica is now the master is trying to get the value from the replica. So we have to pick up the IP address of here. Okay. The new primary is 124 as the okay if config 43. Okay, let's start it without doing anything. We have made the changes. Now let's go back and start the old primary as the replica, and we will see what all issues we are getting. Okay, it is showing that you don't have the 124. This has to be mentioned. That's what we were expecting. Let's go to the new primary. This is our new primary. Oops. So I'll mention this over here. pg_hba.conf. So uh, okay, so this should work now. Let's restart it. One 124. Let us see if the entry is over here. So we should keep the entry at both the places just in case uh, there is an issue and that needs to be fixed up, which is related to the switchover. And let's copy it. Let's recycle the service at both the places. Okay, all right, you can see now. This is just the warning, but that's fine. Let us check the status. PSQL. This is our new standby. So this should have some data related to the receiver. You can see it is streaming from the 43. This is what it is doing. And the replica now is the primary. And if you see, let's fire this command. So you can see over here. The next thing which we can do is again failback. We can do uh, the same steps once again. And what is that we need to take care is, okay, let me show you again. When you have to promote, stop the corresponding primary, the existing replica, you have to promote it, and the new replica, while you start it again, you have to make sure that data directory contains standby.signal. You have to mention the primary connect info and archive cleanup command and the restore command. The most important part which is required to start up is primary connection info and the restore command. If these are fine, then it is going to immediately catch up. One of the important point is for large size database to avoid any full restoration using the PG based backup, you have to ensure that there should not be any data written on the primary when you are doing the failover. So the thumb rule is the data must remain same just to do the switch over and the switch back. Just follow this a couple of times and you will be able to do it at your own. I hope this is